Lord, we just thank you for this day that you've given us. We thank you for the rain that we've received this afternoon. And Lord, we just pray that you'd be with us tonight and help us to make the best decisions for the people of Hart County. We pray, Lord, as we work on our budget that we would be able to give our departments the resources they need, but be mindful of the taxpayer and their financial situation also. Lord, we just pray for our emergency services, our deputies, our fire departments, our ambulance drivers, and Lord, we just pray that you keep your hand of protection upon them. And Lord, for they never know what situation they will may be facing tonight, and we just pray, Lord, that you'd be with them. In the name we pray. Amen.
Amen. This time I'd like to ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time I'll call to order the Tuesday, August 13th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Hart County. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We have a very short agenda. First item of business will be to approve the agenda. I think we need to add litigation for executive session.
Would that change so we approve the agenda?
I have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby and a second by Commissioner Teasley to approve the agenda as amended. Any more discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item of business is to approve the minutes of the July 23rd, 2019 meeting.
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sayer and a second by Commissioner Teasley. Any more discussion? Public comment on the minutes? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Next item on the agenda is remarks by invited guests, committees, and authorities. We don't have anyone. Item 8, reports by constitutional officers and department heads. Mr. Gordon.
Mr. Chairman, I have no separate report tonight.
Okay. County Administrator's report. Terry?
Yeah, I've got one thing. We've opened a recreation football going to kick off on September the 5th. And they're going to have opening ceremony at 6 o'clock that night. Following that, they're going to recognize the Boy Scouts, Eagle Boy Scouts, for their project on the flagpole down at the rec department, new rec department. And following that, they're going to have the dedication of the dog park. We've been trying to find a date for about the last 6 months for this, so we're putting it all in the same afternoon where you get all as many people as we can to it. But that's been through the Rec Advisory Board, and they've approved it. Just so y'all, of course, always invited.
What's the time?
That's all. 6 o'clock.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
Chairman's report. We'll go into the financial report, financial dashboard. Looking at the month of July, our revenues came in at $587,645 versus a target of $1,022,170. The reason for that is the real driver on the revenue side is real property, which is your property tax, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here momentarily. Actual expenses was $1,393,816. That was above target of $1,022,170, and that's typical. We've been running pretty well along in line.
And if I can inject something, we had a lightning strike, and about 200,000 of that's
what I was going to mention. The storms did cause a lot of issues. If you look at our monthly variance for the month of July, we were in the hole $806,171, but year to date we're still tracking $1,116,713 with revenues exceeding expenditures. That will continue to go down as we go into the month of August and September, where our fiscal year ends September 30th. Looking at our key revenue drivers, real property tax, our target's $462,000 a month. You'll see that's red at $10,363. The reason for that is because property taxes were due back in December, And if you go back and look in November, December, and January, we were very strong and significantly exceeded our targets. LOST continues to be strong, some of the highest revenue numbers we've seen. If you look at July, we're at $238,420. That's after the split with the cities that get their part. Prior to that, $241,040 in June was the largest month to date. EMS fees are green again this month at $104,698 against a target of $91,700. And vehicle title fee came in at $72,095 versus a target of $56,000. As I say, every month there's a lot of people buying cars because this has been green and significantly exceeded our goal all year. We're about 30% above our target at $143,000 above the $560,000 target. So, any questions on the financial dashboard?
I got a question. Do
Okay.
we not track SPLOST, or couldn't we track SPLOST?
That's, yeah, we do under special accounts, special funds account. This is just general budget, general government good budget
It's a
here.
special revenue fund. This is all feeds the general fund. That's why we track it.
I mean, it'd probably be nice to keep up with it. But I don't know.
It's going to track pretty close to LOST.
I would think so.
There'll be a little difference between it, but they're both, the distribution formula is different, but they're reasonably close. Any other questions on the financial report? One other thing I'd like to say is over the past several years, been a gentleman with the local newspaper, Mr. Michael Isom, who has done a fantastic job covering our meetings and covering what goes on here at the Board of Commissioners and throughout the county. I just want to give him a pat on the back for a job well done. Always accurate reporting, and you know, he's kind of sets the bar for others to try to match. So I just want to give him a shout out for his efforts in covering us tonight. He's moved on to greener pastures, and we wish him the best. Commissioners report, District 1,
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
District 2,
Move on.
District 3,
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
District 4.
Yeah, I got a question. This is probably gonna be a turtle question. I ain't sure. I got a call the other day about, said that animal control did not pick up cats.
That's a true
Is that
statement.
true?
I'm sorry?
That's a true statement. Our ordinance does not address cats.
Oh.
Our ordinance does not address cats. It only addresses
Correct, it's
dogs.
dogs only.
Well, it's got some wording in there for cats.
It's always been our impression.
It's got-
Only word I know that covers cats is on the animal shelter, part of their funding, I assume.
Well, if you take a good look at it, but I don't, why would we not cover cats? Is there
That's-
a reason behind that?
That
It
was in
not a
place
problem
before
at
my
the
time. I
when
can't
we
answer that
put
question.
ordinance together. It was all about dogs. Anything else?
No, that'll do it. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on into the business part of the meeting. Old business, item 12A, amend the Exhibit A of the no-through truck ordinance to add Vanderford Road from Gold Mine Holly Springs Road to K Nursery Road. Could I get a motion that we take this as a third and final reading?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Moving into the new business portion of our meeting, item 13A, appointment of a voting delegate for the ACCG Legislative Leadership Conference Business Session, October the 3rd, 2019 in Athens. I don't know if anybody's going to this or if anybody knows at this point in time if they'll be going. I know I will not be able to. If nobody knows for sure if they're going, we can just table, we don't have to take any action, but just something to keep in mind. But it would need to be one of us five.
Or it could be a staff member, couldn't it?
Don't
It
know
can
for
be,
sure.
but I feel it's more appropriate for a commissioner or elected official to do it.
Okay.
We just table it to get closer to the meeting.
We won't take any action.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 13B, Board of Assessors Corrective Action Plan Update, and I apologize. Mr. Thompson did call me, but I have not been able to return his call. One of the things we want to talk about tonight was I'd like to see a breakdown of what drove this real estate sales ratio and understand fully, there's more contributors to this than building permits not being taken, I think. Just want to see the data and see what the plan is to correct this, because this is a significant revenue issue for both the Board of Commissioners and the school board.
Okay. My name is David Thompson. I'm the chairman of the Board of Assessors. And in the future, Joey, and if you want us to come to the meeting, please at least call us and tell us you
I
put us
wasn't
on
planning
the
on,
agenda.
I was just going to present it to the board and then us vote on it as a board and ask you guys to come. That was the intention tonight, but since you got it all together,
Oh,
you and I spoke at Home
I
Depot.
knew nothing about it until
And I
somebody
apologize
called me
for
and said, "Well,
not calling
we're
her."
on the agenda," and I said, I know nothing about
Yeah,
that.
that's why nothing was communicated, because we as a board were going to discuss this, and then
Well, you want
kinda-
to discuss it, and then,
it's up to you. If you
I
want
mean,
to talk about it, you're more than
I got
welcome
some
to.
information here
Okay.
for you and stuff
Okay.
like that. I mean, we can certainly discuss that. Wayne's here, and we can answer any questions you've got.
Okay.
And the three main things is the building permits was a big problem. That was a big problem. It still is. I'll tell you this, that we've so far this year we've had 240 permits through June of 2019, and that's a 33% increase of what we had last year. Now, are we getting them all? I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. But I can tell you that we do have a 33% increase. Then the other thing is a changing market. And so the appraisal department, we reevaluate all properties each year, not just the triennial review period. However, we're not allowed to anticipate the market. We can only react to sales. During 2018, Hart County saw about an 8% increase in the market value, and effective property values were adjusted to reflect the market change. We asked the appraisal staff to do a 6-month review and to look into what the growth is in the county. And as you can see there, I've listed them. The rural small parcels have increased by 4%. Rural large parcels have remained about the same. Urban parcels are by 9% so far this year. Lake subdivision at 8%. Rural lake parcels 7%. Commercial industrial parcels are increased by 9%. So the thing is, if these sales continue through the end of the year, Hart County we're going to have to adjust the evaluations and increase the assessments is what that amounts to. The other thing that was big on the list, I think, of y'all was the Department of Revenue audit. Each year, the chief appraiser will, if necessary, appeal to the Department of Revenue. He did successfully in 2018, but without complete success in 2019. During the 2018 audit, there were 132 properties selected by the Department of Audit for consideration. Hart County Appraisal Department was able to get 17 properties removed from consideration for various reasons, including remodeling, personal property into sales, and things like that. The appraisal staff made a good case for 7 more properties to be removed because they were remodeled. One of them was a family sale. We had 2 of them that were burned properties that they included in the audit, which is unbelievable to me. And also the audit department used 12 properties that they appraised themselves. Now the problem with the audit department is they're kind of an entity onto their own, and they do what they want to do. How they appraised these properties, what values they used, we have no idea. We have no control over it whatsoever. So they appraised 12 properties, and of those, you can see that O'Reilly's and Huddle House is one of them, or 2 of them actually. But and how they appraised them and what values they used and what years they can actually use current year's values, and we cannot. So we have a little bit of an issue. We talked about it among the members of the board about how to address that. We've decided, and we even talked about writing the Department of Audit a letter concerning the way that they do it, because one of the things that was an issue, we had an 8% growth. We were able to prove that to the Department of Audit, but they only used a 6% growth. So when we failed the the audit by 0.52%, there's a lot of mitigating reasons into that. So, and we honestly have a problem with the way they do their audits, but we don't have any control over it. That's what it amounts to. So, with that said, that's about what I can give you right now. Looks like the county is growing. It's changing rapidly. As you know, we're on a 3-year cycle, and as part of this is what you saw there, the effects of the audit, or not the audit, the effects of the building permits and the other issues that were going on. It's going to take us 2 more years to get out of that, because we do a 3-year cycle. The only way we can improve that is if you want to give more people to the department, and we can do appraisals more often. That's the only way to get out of it. So, I mean, this year we're doing city properties, and next year we'll do lake properties. And as you know, we did lake properties 2 years ago, and we picked up $8 million worth of docks at that time. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. Will y'all be able to hit all 240 of these permits this year?
Oh, yeah.
And because if it goes on to the end of the year, it's going to be, could be 480.
It could be. We don't know. We're hoping that they continue to get permits. I know, we're, as they come in, we get them, and we assess those pieces of property. Now, you have to understand, at the end of the year, if it's partially completed, they only get a partial assessment. And then the state also allows, I'll say it's an 80% complete. We assess it at 80%. The state automatically puts another 25% on top of that. So it doesn't get a full assessment.
I guess one question I've got, and
Come on up here, Wayne.
You knew I was going to have to ask a question.
Come on up.
And I don't know if you're going to be able to
Might as well
answer
get
this one right today, but of the 132 properties that was selected for the audit, how many of those would you quantify as being affected by an improvement with no building permit? That's the question I'd like to know.
Well, I think I've got that in here, don't I?
You talk about of the 360 building permits in 2018 and 240, 138.
Well, there was 17 that were removed for remodeling and stuff like that. There's another 7 that we think that should have been removed, that we think that were improved. So 7 and 17 and 20. And then of course, that's of the audited property. I think that's it, right? We didn't see any more than that, right? Yeah.
What I'm looking for is that 132 sample size, X number was because of not getting a building permit. X number was just flat out undervalued or changing market conditions. I just kind of like to understand that so that we truly understand the dynamics of the shifting market.
Right, and I think what he's telling you, of the 17 we had removed, most of those were in situations where something was done without permits, and we had our system was noted that they was able to remove those. We got this thing within 0.5% of where we needed to be to got it passed.
I understand.
If they had went with an 8% change in the market like we proved to them and should have been, we would have went above the 38. But they only went for the 6%. And again, we couldn't make them go to an 8.5%, so like we were showing. So part of the problem right here is we only got like a 2% window of error that we can get in and out. This is not Department of Revenue, it's Department of Audits.
I understand.
They're coming in taking the current sales, looking back at January 1's assessments that we already done. So the problem, I think, the biggest problem that's mixed up in this is that market adjustment that they didn't allow for us. They want to give us something that's an adjustment for all counties. It's in this district. And that's just not the case. Hart County is different from probably anybody that's around.
Well, my concern is going into next year, or current year, because this is a year behind, as we all know. I feel like we're setting ourselves up for the same situation next year.
We could be, you know, we have no control over what the market's
understand.
going to change and go to. One thing we
Understand.
are going to do as a staff is we're going to try to get as close to 40% as we can. Instead of being 39 or so, we're going to get as close to 40% as we can get. Now, again, you're only talking about a 1% or less variance in the whole equation still, and we still got the element of we can't control what Department of Audits do, what their criteria of selection is. They use 132 sales, we use 360 something.
Let's see that.
Assessments by. So, you know, we don't understand why they couldn't use all 360 something samples that we use, you know, because we had good ratios set up for the Department of Revenue standards. So it's really a very difficult process to be in, because they're doing the process and looking at things that we can't look at, and the only adjustment between the two is that market adjustment. And there was 2% between their number and our number, which would have got us well over that 38% threshold.
And I'm not throwing rocks, I'm just trying to understand. I don't want to see us get in a situation where this, you know, once we get behind, it's hard to get caught up. We all know that. We know what we've been through here with property tax values before.
Last year, I think, was the first year where we've seen the result
I understand.
of the
It was.
market changing here.
It was.
We had about 3 years where the market stayed kind of flat. We're going down, we're going up, it just kind of sat there. And all of a sudden, you have a pretty good change of a lot of things going up, a lot of things selling, a lot of things moving,
So when
the
I,
indication is now, we don't see that same kind of an increase this year. You don't know till you put together the numbers at the end of the year for a fact, but because we've seen an 8% last year, we're already seeing roughly, 4.5 to 6.5 or 8.5%, depending on the class of property. It's looking like there's going to be increases for this year too.
so with that being said, the current digest that, the 2020 digest that we're getting ready to start looking at setting a budget on, do those categorical property values that are listed here, are those property values increasing by about the same percent, or how are they
They're
being?
a little different. The ag large land tracts, they right now are showing.
So they didn't do anything.
Showing the same.
Right.
Rural properties are showing them, what was it,
4%?
Rule was 4, yeah.
and so lake, I think some of the lake properties are around 7 to 8% showing on some of
Yeah,
the.
what you need to understand about lake properties too is there's, within lake property or lake subdivisions, for example, there's class A, B, C, and all that. And you can have it where class C would actually increase by 4%, but class A or B may not. It's correct.
We do look at each individual class by themselves. But then you're getting ready to set your budget on 2019's.
Sales.
We're just now starting to work on 2020, and that's what these numbers we're using today is kind of what we're seeing right now. But I think, Lord, it's a mixture thing. I think the main reason we didn't quite make the is because of the market change, and they didn't adjust what we think they should have adjusted to. We did show them we proved to them that it was an 8.25% or so change. They still stuck with the 6%, and I don't know why. We don't get another appeal from the appeal we had, but we tried every avenue we could to try to get that number above that. It is something that we're aware of. What can we control? Again, we can try to get as close to that 40 on the market of all these properties, a 40% ratio as we can get. In the past, we'd like to be around 39 because we can always defend those valuations.
Right.
So it's going to tighten things up a little bit, but we're going to have to try to stay ahead of this curve and hopefully not have this happen. I mean, we didn't miss it by much. 0.5% or less what we missed it by. So it's just a very narrow margin that we've got to play, and it's aggravating again because they're looking at data that we don't get a chance to look at this after the fact. But all we can do, what we control, is try to be as close to 40 this year with our assessments as we can be.
Well, like I said, I just don't want to see, this definitely is going to impact our budget this year.
We don't see it.
So, and I'm not, like I said, I appreciate you guys putting this together. This is not what I was looking for. We're just going to discuss it. I was going to ask the board that we just ask you guys to come in and talk about this, and I appreciate you putting this together.
on such short notice.
Yeah.
Okay, I did it last night.
Anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I do. I got a couple more questions. Number one, how did you find the 138 properties improved without permit? Did
They
you just,
wouldn't, that's 138 sales that they chose to use on their study.
Yeah, we don't have any choice on that.
Now, there's properties all over the county where stuff has been worked on without permit, but they always
You
sold.
been doing any of that?
This is just properties that sell where that takes place and happens, is what affects us on this. But as long as we can note the system and give them a date that says, hey, it was remodeled after January 1, most of the time, they're gonna remove that sale for us. But if it's 2 years old or so in the review, that we have to look at that class of properties, and we can't tell them a definite date when that remodel took place because they didn't get a permit, then they're gonna leave that one in the mix. It's gonna hit us and give us a lower ratio than what should happen.
well,
You understand what he's talking about there?
What this says right here, that y'all we informed you that in 2018, we had discovered 138 properties that were improved without permit, and this affected the GIDF by $10 million. That's the question. How did you find those 138 properties?
After they
Well,
were sold.
when there were sales.
They were
Yeah.
sold.
Remember, they were sales.
Yeah.
And what we did is Shane and Wayne's office, when those properties sold, they would go into the MLS listing and look at the MLS listing and compare the property with the sale. And so, I mean, they got pictures of the property and they got the MLS listing. If you look at the MLS listing, you can see inside pictures.
Okay.
You know, so you can pretty well tell pretty easy that it's been remodeled.
Yeah, see, if we're doing a review, a physical review each year, if it's in that year's review, say we're looking at city limits this year, and somebody called and tell us, well, somebody on the lake building finishing their basement, they didn't get a permit. Well, we can't single that person out and go pick that basement up. Now, if Randall or whatever you finds out about it and they get a hold of them, they make them come in and get their permit, then we can take that permit because they sign off that we're coming out, going to be following up looking at it, we can go and look at that construction at that point. But until we get back around to look at that, and then if it's a basement finish, we may or may not see it's done until it does sell. Because you can't go up.
Can't go in the house.
The windows and stuff like that, you knock on the door, ain't nobody at home, I mean, sometimes it's hard to find out what's been done. I was with old Lamar one day when he went up to look at the windows, and the little old lady staring back at him. He said, what is it? Somebody was looking at him. I said, well, don't look at the window. We have to be mindful of the review class that we're in. We can't single somebody out if they're not in a review. We try as hard as we can to find everything we can when we do a review. And I am making some changes within the department to try to get a couple more people out there to help look at this stuff. You know, and we see it, we be a little more thorough what we're looking at. But having that piece of paper gives us the ability to go see everything. And it don't matter really how many we get within a year, we're going to follow up on that piece of paper wherever it's at.
I'll give you a good example. I think Shane and Nikki went to a real estate meeting here just the other day, and Shane was telling me that he was talking to one of the real estate ladies, and she said she had 40 closings to go to. 40 closings. So can you imagine what the sales are doing?
Well, Kim told us that she's never seen like it is.
Oh, yeah, it's gotten out of hand on that.
Well, I'd like to say that I appreciate the process of the state. I mean, it's not a perfect process, but it is a process for those of you may not know what's going on. It's a process so that the county can't overtax you and they can't undertax you. It's trying to be fair to everybody in the county. And I appreciate these guys and the effort they put into this. And we're further along than what we used to be, but maybe we're not where we want to be, okay? But I appreciate every one of y'all.
Yep, me too.
I got one more question. What does this board need to do to help y'all solve this issue?
Well, we've talked about that.
Yeah, we could go, the Department of Revenue is actually talking, the state of Georgia is actually talking about having counties do all their, instead of doing the triennial reviews, have them all done in 1 year. people to do just reviews to look at everything every year. And, you know, that would help a lot. That would give us the opportunity to look at everything every year, and we would catch a lot of the stuff that we're missing, like some of these classes where we don't see them again for 2 years after the year.
Now, what you need to understand, I guess, is we're on a 3-year process, and Wayne, you know, is looking at every piece of property every 3 years. Well, this county's growing so fast that we can't, you know, if you check lake property this year, well, 2 years down the road, it's going to, you know, that property can change a lot. The only way you can improve upon that is to look at it more often. And what you guys need to realize is when you're doing your budgets and stuff like that, that if you wanted to do it every 2 years, look at everything every 2 years, or even every year, it's going to require more people, but it would probably pay for itself because the assessments would be higher, and the, you know, I mean, so, you know, that's up to you guys. You know, we're on a free, I mean, you have to.
Most counties pay a company like GMAS, I think there's 2 or 3 companies across the state that come in and do these reviews on all property classes.
We all know about
And
GMAS,
the reason
right?
that we're talking about today, when you start suffering in a ratio somewhere, that's when you have a company come in usually and look at everything at once. And I think with us this year, it's just different because the market's changing like it is. If it had stayed around 3 or 4% increase, we wouldn't be having this discussion tonight here. I think it's because there was a 2% difference in the adjustment that they give us and the adjustment we proved we should have had.
You know, y'all have to give Wayne a little credit because this is the only county that we know of that actually does their own assessments.
I don't know anyone else that does it.
Nobody else does them. They have a company come in and do it. So Wayne does it in-house.
We've been down that road and we know what happens.
Yeah, we do.
It's a disaster. Nope.
We don't want to go down that road, but there is, I mean, there's things that we can do. It's just according to whether y'all want to do it or not. You know, if you want to assess properties more often, we can do that, but it just requires manpower and
So we're
so.
going to do as best we can, but we've got work to do in the meantime.
Let me ask another question. I know y'all tired of listening to you. When you go over here and you see urban parcels have increased by 9%, and lake subdivision parcels have been increased by 8%, and then commercial and industrial parcels have increased by 9%, should you spend more of your time on those? Because you know they have a
Unfortunately,
higher-
you can't do that. You can't, you know, I asked the question to Wayne here at one of our last meetings is, can we skip doing the city this year and go do lake properties? Well, you can't do that. If you do that, then you're single, I mean, you're gonna have so many dang appeals, you couldn't stand it. You know, I mean, because, you know, you're singling out one section and reassessing them out of turn, so you can't do that.
We do personal property the same way. We split the personal property counts up and every third one and look at them in 3 years as well. So that everybody gets looked at, nobody's singled out. But, you know, we do a market adjustment every year on everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will look at what the market's telling us on a particular property class. If we have to change the land schedules, things like that, on that property class, we make that change every year.
Could you actually visit 17,000 parcels? You actually have to physically visit?
It would take 4 trained people over what we have now to keep them out in the field. That's all they do all year is go out and do these reviews.
You could pick up 17,000 parcels.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Appreciate y'all coming. Thanks.
Thank y'all.
Thanks for your efforts.
Appreciate it, David.
Okay, that's all we have on the regular business. We'll move into public comment. If somebody'd like to come and address the board. Nobody for public comment? Can I get a motion that we go into executive session for personnel and litigation?
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Oglesby and a second by Commissioner Teasley. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. Once we come back out of the executive session, we will have a budget meeting here in just a little bit. So.